Okay, so let's talk about it. Let's talk about the real reason that women are choosing to stay single. Because lots of women are talking about it, but not many men want to listen to us. Not many men want to hear us. Not many men want to actually take in what we're trying to tell you. Now, sure, there are the guys that get it. Slowly but surely, the good guys are waking up and they're really seeing why we're choosing to stay single. And I have a lot of good men in my life, so this isn't for every man. Before some idiot wants to come for me and be like, you hate men. No, I don't. I hate men like you that say that. And there's a reason why. When you have a bunch of women saying, we are choosing to stay single for this reason, this reason, this reason, that reason, and men turn around and go, oh yeah, well, misogyny is not unreal, we don't even need feminism, you are the reason why we are single. You are the reason why we are choosing not to date. Because there are so many entitled men that are literally going around and saying that we do not need feminism, misogyny doesn't exist, all this BS, when we can literally, if you spoke to any of us, if you swallowed your pride for a second and listened to any of the women in your life that have dated, nearly every single one has got a story to tell about how it does deeply affect us and how misogyny is definitely very bloody real. From as young as, some women are from as young as 5, some even younger, but most of us will experience or start to experience misogyny from as young as 11. And then you grow up, and the only difference now is, before, in our parents' generation, a lot of those women just really wanted to be picked. They did not want to die alone because society told them that they couldn't die alone, because they wasn't a woman enough, because they had failed their job as a woman, because they were worried about not having kids, because they were worried about what society would think, and they found themselves in relationships with men where they was not happy, just about to say they was in one. And the difference now is Gen Z and millennials are now not bothered about that. We now don't care. A lot of us are making our peace with the fact that we may never have kids. We're making our peace with the fact we may not ever be married, and we are so okay with it. And that's the scary thing. The scary thing is there is a massive epidemic of lonely men right now, but a lot of the women that are choosing to stay single aren't actually lonely. And women who want kids are going, you know what, I did want kids, but it's not worth the BS of being in a relationship with certain types of men, which unfortunately these days is lots of types of men. There are so many types of men that are like it. And for you to think that a woman wants to be in a relationship, wants to have kids, but she's still happy with accepting the fact that she may never have it because of the peace it will bring her, tells you a lot about the men we are encountering. When will the men that want to so badly be stubborn and not listen to us wake up? You are going to end up alone. You are going to be the old men in old people's homes that are left with no family because you're so stubborn you won't listen to us. You are so stubborn and so concerned with being right that rather than listening to what women are telling you we have problems with and that we need, basic stuff like listening to us, using empathy, helping out around the house, understanding that being a mother for most women is a full-time job, and then we're expected to have jobs on top of that. Understanding that us going on a date with you and you being a gentleman usually means you expect us to put out, or if we're not expected to put out, we're expected to pay halves. So therefore the complete old school gentlemanly side of things going straight out the window. And some women want that, and they're allowed to want that. And the other thing as a man is, if you don't like that, if you want her to pay halves, you are allowed to choose to not date women like that. That's absolutely fine, but be respectful about it. This is the difference. You don't have women going to the end of dates, and when the guy says, oh no thank you, I wouldn't like to see you again, the women stalk them, follow them, harass them, and then sometimes unalive them. But you do have that with women. You don't have women that go on a date, and when the guy goes, oh yeah, thank you for paying, I don't want to put out, and then she goes and follows him into the car park and does it anyway, or decides to spike her drink so he can take her home and do it anyway. You don't have this problem. So as much as we want to be stubborn, and as much as these guys want to turn around and say misogyny doesn't exist, it does. And dating for women is a shit show, and we're telling you it's a shit show. We're telling you we want you to do basic things. And you see podcasts and you see these TED Talks and you see these interviews with guys where they're like, oh, women want you to hold the door open. Why is that the end of the world? You expect us to cook you a meal, but yeah, us expecting you to hold the door open is a problem. Here's what most of us women want. Now, of course, I can't speak for every single woman, but for all the women that I speak to and I see on these apps, this is what most of us want. We want you, and I'm going to spell it out really simply so that you can't say you didn't understand it, and so that you can't say you don't get it. We want you to have basic understanding of empathy. We want you to get your ass in therapy, because a lot of you come from troubled childhoods, just like us women, and need the help. And you are so stubborn in admitting it that instead of getting help, you would just channel all that anger inside, have your subconscious boil up with all this trauma you haven't dealt with, and then you go and take it out on a good woman. We're sick of it. Grow up, learn to go to therapy, learn to deal with your shit. And it may seem harsh, but every single one of us has had to do it, and nearly every single woman I know is in therapy. Go to therapy. It's going to help you. It's going to help your future relationship. It's going to help you as a father. It's going to help everybody. Go to therapy. We want men who actually understand our emotions, who try to understand our emotions. And if you don't understand our emotions, ask us. And if you really can't understand it from our point of view, take 5 minutes away, go and speak to the women in your family, and just have an open mind. We want men that don't want to use weaponized incompetence, of where we say, can you do this for us? And you go, oh, I'll try. And you purposely do a bad job at it so that we will go, I'm never asking him to do that again. I'll just do it. We're not stupid. We know you're doing it. Be an adult. How are you surviving by yourself? When you are living by yourself in these flats, how are you surviving if you can't cook and can't clean? Most of women actually are very maternal, and a lot of us want to do those sort of things, but we don't want to do them, especially if we're quite independent, especially if we're quite ballsy. We don't want to do those things for somebody we know can do them and is choosing and pretending to not be able to do them. Use empathy. Stop using weaponized incompetence. Stop trying to pressure us into doing stuff. If you understood that most women go into anything physical with their emotional mind first, you would realise that if you were just a little bit nicer, a little bit kinder, took a bit more of the stress of us, we would want to do a lot more of those things with you anyway. You don't need to back us into a corner. You don't need to pressure us. You don't need to try and, blackmail us into it. You can just be kind, and most of the time we'll want to do it. And if you're a man who's got a wife or a man that's got a partner with a baby, and it's straight after the baby, there's a very big reason why she doesn't want to have that with you straight away. Very obvious. She's in pain. She's stressed. Her sleep's fucked. The baby's taking everything out of her. I'm not even a mother, and yet it's still so painstakingly obvious to me what is going on with these women. So you can't even say, oh, well, I'm not a woman, I don't get it. Okay, sure, I'm a woman, but I'm not a mother. But I could look at a mother for 2 seconds, and I could tell you that they are exhausted. And you can say, oh, well, I'm at work all day. Being a mother is a full-time job, and it doesn't stop at 5:30. Women, like who have got kids, it's the second they wake up and throughout the night to the second they go to sleep and again throughout the night. Your job is 9 till 5:30, maybe some a little bit later. And then you come home, you put your feet up, and you expect for the woman to do everything around you like a slave. And again, this is not for the nice guys, this is for those guys. And there's a lot of those guys out there, so that's why I'm making this video. But even me not being a mother and have never been a mother, I can tell you now, I know exactly why women are exhausted, and I know exactly why women are feeling taken for granted. And if you want to know why divorce is so high and why it's instigated by women, it's because it's instigated by women that are miserable with men that they do love, they are madly in love with, but they are talking to a wall when they talk to their husbands, talk to their boyfriends. And they realise now that no amount of talking, no amount of nagging, no amount of harbouring on at you is working, and the only other choice is to leave. You are going to end up alone if you do not start using empathy and if you do not start trying to understand us. And you can't say it's not the same for women, because women spend their whole lives trying to fix broken men. Women spend their whole lives trying to understand their husbands and trying to love them better. That is literally what we do our whole lives. And I know that men and women are different, and I know that we are not the same in everything. That's DNA, that's biology, there's no denying it. But being sentient and using basic common sense and using basic empathy, which you would easily hand out to one of your bros, can be done to your wives. That's the person who it should be done to the most. Your wives, your mother, and your children. The women in your lives. Come on, wake up.
So this might be a bit of a controversial one. Not really controversial, but I know people might have a lot to say about it. Insecure people might have a lot to say about it, and that's okay. But my pretty girls are gonna get it. And it's more than that, so just listen. When you are the triple threat, and when I say triple threat, I mean when you are very pretty, very attractive, really smart, confident, your chances of finding a man are slim to none. And I know I rave on about insecurity in men, and I do so because it is such a big thing. I feel like it's a bigger thing that people are giving it attention for and credit for. So when you are quote unquote the triple threat, very few men have the confidence and the security to want to date you and to be with you and to try and talk to you. 1 out of 3, even 2 out of 3 of the qualities I just mentioned is enough for a guy to feel adequate enough to speak to you. But all 3, I'm telling you right now, it's close to impossible. It's close to impossible. Think about it. Guys, think about that one girl you think, wow, this girl's insane. I don't understand why she's single. Think about those 3 things I just said. I bet you she has them all. And in turn, when you think about the beautiful women that just so happen to always be in relationships, so happen to always date these higher value men, or does she possess all three of the traits that I mentioned? Probably not. Probably not. And this isn't even to like shame no one, be mean. And honestly, sometimes I think like, damn, like sometimes I wish I was just like a dumb bitch with a pretty face. Then I feel like dating would be so much easier, honestly.
Ladies, check this out. We both know, me and you both know, you can walk outside your door right now and get a man. You can get a man, but you're waiting for the man, your man, the right man, not just any man. So quit letting people make you feel bad for being single just because they went and grabbed the first thing they saw. You got standards. You actually want a, I don't know, long-term relationship with someone that can pour into you just like you pouring into them. Someone that can keep their little pee-pee in their pants and only give it to you. You actually want consistent orgasms. You don't want to fake it the rest of your life. And here's the thing. When people without standards look at you, they feel like you crazy because you passing up all these, they think qualified on paper people. No, you looking for your soulmate, not a paper mate. You looking for the man, not a man. So don't let people make you feel bad for being single, because you got standards.
What they're competing with is the peace that women feel in solitude.
This is the reason why so many girls are single and they've been single for a while. And some men literally think that a girl that's been single for a while is single because she can't get or keep a man. It's such an unself-aware thing to say because girls want relationships, but what we do not want is someone who's going to stress us out when we've worked so hard to keep our peace, be independent, be happy on our own. And the last thing that a girl that's been single for a while wants is an additional stressor that comes in the form of a man. For girls that have been single for a while, if a man cannot get right, he's getting left.
Can I ask a question about kids?
Yeah.
What's your feelings on them?
In my 20s, I would have said absolutely must have kids. I want them. At 30, I started questioning if that was just something that society's told me that I've wanted. There's not a lot of men I meet that I think they'd be great fathers. And so I kind of don't have that instinct to like procreate with them because I'm like, oh, I don't know if this would be an equal parenting relationship. My mom had like a very Britney Spears moment where she just like shaved her head. She was raising all three of us. My dad was in Afghanistan for like a 6 months tour. Understandably, she had a little mentee B. You know, she had a little mental breakdown. Shaved her head one night, was super drunk, screaming, crying. And she was like, she grabbed me by the shoulders and she was like, don't have kids. Don't make the mistake I did. Have a career. Be someone.
Many believe that women are single because they haven't found the right partner, or because the men they want aren't actually interested. However, I think women can genuinely be happy, be content while single. It's baffling how many men dispute this reality. I'm not married yet, but my periods of being single were the most transformative times of my life. I was never interested in back-to-back relationships because a significant amount of time was needed to heal and grow right after. And so during my single years, I grew closer to God, planned out my career, and experienced a significant amount of personal and professional growth. So this time alone helped me feel centered and confident about my life's direction. But that being said, being in a relationship can also provide stability, cohesion, and multiple sources of income, along with some other benefits. However, it's crucial to ask ourselves not just if men want partners, wives, girlfriends, but if the life we've envisioned with a man, is it realistic? Is it achievable? And is it mutually beneficial? Because if it's not, it's important to reassess our expectations. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments. Thank you to IAIW for sponsoring this video. IAIW stands for I Am Over Who I Was, and their services provide high quality therapy to address the counselling needs of women and female teenagers who are emotionally injured. This often involves unresolved childhood trauma and adult experiences leading to dysfunctional effects. Specialising in women's issues. They support clients on their healing journey. They offer one-to-one, face-to-face and online sessions with accredited therapists. Their expertise includes relationship coaching, helping clients gain a deeper understanding of themselves, finding your purpose, and guiding you in redefining your past to prevent negative impacts on loved ones. They emphasize that mental health equates to mental strength and prioritize the needs of each person and work closely with clients to create effective communication strategies, both internally and externally. It is assured that their approach will yield measurable and profitable results in both the short term and long term for you. So, book a consultation today.